Liberalism. For you IT geeks, this is segment 0. IT geeks start counting from 0. I want to talk about the liberal economic and political philosophy. At my age, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this. I have seen hypocrisy. I understand, at least I think I understand what liberalism is or should be about. So I want to articulate what a liberal political philosophy should try to achieve. As part of this, I have come around to the view, articulated by the Liberal Party of Australia, that liberalism and conservatism are not contradictions. So we'll come to that in a moment. Well, we'll come to that another time. Liberalism for me is about freedom of economic and political action. Conservatism at the individual level. Conservatism is about our system of government, about making sure the change is slow. Not because we don't want change, but because we know the populace often responds to populist rhetoric, and by slowing down change, we make sure that change only happens when it has been well considered by the polity. But I said this would be item 0, so why am I calling it that? I want to articulate the fact that I am slightly right of centre, but there's a part of me that's a social democrat. That seems inconsistent, but you see where I vote, and I'll usually be voting with the Liberal Party. So don't bag me for being some sort of left-wing socialist with some things that I later say. The second point that I want to make is that I have issues with left-wing politics, not because people who are necessarily left-wing have bad ideas. In some cases, some good ideas come from the left wing of the spectrum, particularly in relation to social policy, although more often than not they tend to muck things up for people rather than make it easier. But I just want to make it quite clear that although I have some respect for some policies that come out of the left side of politics, the fundamental problem with left-wing politics is that left-wingers tend to be naive. There's a naive assumption that people are going to behave for the common good. And we know they don't. We know people are self-interested. Whether you like that or not, that's how people behave, and we need to deal with it. Suspending belief in self-interest leads us to communist revolutions, where step 1, kill anybody who's smart. Step 2, all the revolutionaries act to the good of society. Step 3, the kids are born and they go back to nature. Self-interest. Self-interest drives society. That's a fact. So then the question is, how do we come to a just, fair society that enables individual freedom? Just and fair aren't words that are often used by people on the right of the political spectrum. But there is a reason, there's an economic freedom reason, why we on the right need to address these issues. They are consistent with our underlying philosophy. And when they seem not to be consistent, that is fundamentally an issue of hypocrisy. So I'm telling you where I come from. I may re-record this later or provide a revision in case I haven't articulated my thoughts very well. But let this stand as an introduction. And what I want to do in segment 1 is look at one of these inherent contradictions, or contradictions that come out by people who articulate right of centre philosophies. So I'll do that in segment 1.